Commissioner Ovando?
Yes.
Chairman Walby?
Yes.
Okay, we have quorum. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Notice is given in the following manner. Notice of the meeting and it was transmitted to the Home Vision Tribune, and notice of the meeting and a copy of the agenda will prominently posted on the announcement board of City Hall at least 48 hours prior to convening this meeting.
Okay, we'll go over the minutes of the next meeting. We'll go to new business, read the roll.
Shall I read the resolution, Chair,
Yeah,
or
please.
do you want to welcome our new?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Welcome our new commissioner, Ms. Otero. It's the first week. Sorry.
That's all right. Start with the redevelopment resolution.
Yeah.
Resolution number 7 is acting as redevelopment authority is a resolution approving a redevelopment agreement with Cultural Center Redevelopment Associates Urban Renewal LLC for a mixed-use project in Cultural Center redevelopment area.
Good evening. If you can remember, we were here in February. We had a resolution to appoint the Cultural Center Redevelopment Associates as the redeveloper. They're an affiliate.
Pardon me, Mr. Chairman, before we proceed, we need a motion and a second in order for the matter to be properly before the board. Thank you, everyone.
I'll make the
Can
motion.
you-
Okay.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So we were here in February where you appointed Cultural Center Redevelopment Associates, which is a subsidiary of DEFCO as the redeveloper. For now, we're before you because we have a redevelopment agreement. The project, just to refresh your recollection, consists of 2 mixed-use buildings, the theater tower, which has 2 theaters, rehearsal space, office space, 207 residential units with affordable housing. That's down by about 30 units from where it was before. 31,700 square feet of office space. Behind it's a parking facility with a 350-car garage and rehearsal space for the ballet. There will be various air rights which will be developed, and because of the bond issues, grants, and other considerations, the Housing Authority, as the redevelopment entity, will be a ground lessee from the property owned by a governmental agency, either the city or the county, who will lease it to the Housing Authority, who ultimately will convey it to the redeveloper, and then the redeveloper ultimately will convey the residential estate to the office estate to the county. The theaters will remain, and the parking authority will have the parking garage, and the ballet will have their space. The agreement you have before you is similar to the other redevelopment agreements we have. All the authority costs are paid for by the redeveloper, including your administrative fee. They have to get all the governmental approvals, site plan, subdivision, whatever is required, they're required to get. They're responsible to construct the project. The agreement says it'll begin by August 31st, 2017, and end in July of 2019, which is around a 2-year period. We have the traditional hiring initiatives they have to use their best effort to hire construction workers who live in public projects. We have the usual progress report, with semi-monthly, they'll report to the authority how they're doing. They have to get builder's risk and liability insurance of $5 million of workers' compensation insurance. They're indemnifying the authority for any liability or any costs that happen. The project's estimated to cost $167 million, which RAB bonding, that's redevelopment area bonds, will be $15 million. There'll be a parking authority bond, contributions by the county and by Rutgers, and also there'll be ERB bonding and equity. We will have a final financial plan brought before the board within 180 days for this agreement. Right now, we have the outlines of how it will be. Within 180 days, we'll have the actual final financing plan. We have the usual covenants that the construction must be in accordance with the redevelopment plan, and they cannot discriminate in any way. Also, except for transferring the residential development to a Penrose affiliate or leases or different easements, they can't transfer without our consent. They have to come back here. They're going to transfer it to any third party. We have the usual force majeure clause, the usual default clauses, and the clause for the mortgagee. There's a mortgage, the mortgagee, if there's a default, can step in, but the mortgagee cannot construct the project unless he comes back here and becomes a redeveloper. They have the usual representations that they're a redevelopment entity and the right to enter into the agreement, and also a provision that if there's any litigation against the housing authority, we will defend it, but they have to pay our costs. So I'm here to answer any of your questions. As I say, it's a little more unusual than the usual redevelopment agreement, but the housing authority is well protected and is providing for this development, which will be a tremendous asset to the city.
Okay, one question, can you go over the bifurcation again, who's owning what?
Okay, at the end, there'll be a theater remainder which will be owned, the land, I guess, will be owned by a governmental agency, but there'll be a management.
The land will be owned,
Just
what's
one.
it called?
Okay.
651, yeah. Welcome,
It's been a
Commissioner.
long time.
Thank you.
The land will be owned by the city of New Brunswick. The building, the theater infrastructure, which is 60,000 square feet, will be leased on a 100-year lease to a urban renewal entity whose partnership will be the New Brunswick Cultural Center, Rutgers, and Devco. That's after the 2-year construction period where Devco
Yeah.
and Penrose will be the intermediary, because we need to have control of the property to finish the financing. And then at the end of construction,
I think Rutgers is somewhere else.
so it's Devco, Rutgers, and the Cultural Center. The county of Middlesex will own their 2 floors in a condominium or a deed of apportionment of interest. And then Penrose Properties and their partners will own, their investors, will own the housing component. After 30 years, Devco will step out of the partnership, and then it will just be the New Brunswick Cultural Center and Rutgers. And at the end of 98 years, which, except for Mr. Crowdable, probably none of us will be here. Because, never mind, I was going to say something. People who are always around, right? 98 years, Rutgers steps out, the Cultural Center will own it, and then in the end, I believe it will end up just reverting to the city.
When, Devco, when are they going to be out?
30 years.
After 30 years? Oh, okay.
And
Now,
there'll be a management entity that will be created, that will be made up of the resident companies. It runs a cultural center, Rutgers, and.
And Penrose will own the residence.
Correct, and so Devco, the resident companies, Rutgers, and the cultural center will actually be charged under an operating agreement to operate the facility. So they'll have a board, and they'll have employees. As Mr. Hoffman said, these things get more complicated as we go on.
now, the 2 floors, the county, are they using it for office space?
The county is going to consolidate all of its arts and cultural
okay.
programming.
Okay.
They're going to, fortunately, they're going to build a number of rehearsal spaces that will be available to the public. A lot of their cultural activity they'll use for rehearsal spaces or for local organizations in the county who would like to use them as, a dance performance or those type of thing. So all the cultural heritage will have their offices there. I think there's an opportunity there for other not-for-profits to be tenants. So the ballet is going to put their offices there. It's possible that the George Street Playhouse may also put their offices there. We're in conversations with the county that maybe will rent space from them. And while the ballet is going to own their space on Baird Street in the garage, after 2:30 in the afternoon, when the school children start to get out of school and the dance power and a lot of their other the student teaching stuff happens, their professional company is going to then lease rehearsal space from the county and use one of the rehearsal spaces for late afternoon rehearsals, so that they can do dance power and they can do start to really try to run a real full-blown ballet operation like they do in Princeton for people from the greater community.
Do we have affordable units in this?
Yeah, 20% of the units we built. So right now we're building 207 units.
It's about 40,
And it's about 40 units.
42, 40.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 30 units
We
used to be
the
237, sorry.
building's smaller for 2 reasons.
Okay.
First reason is we made the building sleeker,
Okay.
so we brought it in, so we're able to put windows
Oh,
on the stage left side. So in case stage left or the other neighbors decide to develop, we were gonna have to build a blank wall there if we went all the way out. So what we're gonna do is we lost a line of units all the way up the building. The second part of it, actually, at 207 units, our partner feels more comfortable with the absorption, and they just think it makes better. It'll still be the largest project that they've done in New Brunswick. The view is about 193 or so. It's a combination, mostly because we wanted to protect the views and put windows on the side of the building. The building would just be a lot sharper looking.
Now, it's about 17 stories, just counting.
No, well, you can't use
That you can't-
It's 18 residential, so if we start from the bottom,
Yeah,
we've got unfortunately a fully developed basement.
okay.
So we've got all the shops and all that stuff in the basement. On the ground floor, we have the ground floor of the theaters, concessions, all of that stuff. Second floor, rehearsal spaces and the balconies. The third and fourth story are the county spaces. So now we're up pretty high already, and then it's 18 stories of housing.
Okay, so you'll have a chance to sell air right now, after 18 stories?
No, I
That's,
think that's pretty high enough.
yeah,
It's gonna be a big crane.
okay, because there was a mention of air rights, yes.
No,
Well, the air
Penrose
rights
is
are-
buying the air rights to build it.
Oh,
See,
to be,
they don't own
okay,
the underlying land.
okay.
And what we're also concerned about is that the people who own stage left or the
Okay.
other people on George Street, if someone was to do assemblage, then they could build a building.
Okay, I didn't hear it right.
That's what the air rights
Yes,
are.
okay, yeah.
Well, one, I just want to, I've known Chris for years. I was in Newark with NJ Pack, and I'm so excited about this. This is, really going to make New Brunswick even more of a destination. And so I applaud, a lot goes into this. I know how difficult it is. It never comes out the way you want. There's always a curveball left or right. So I just applaud you for this. This is great. And actually, my church is the church right there. And so there's space. There will be extra. So if you ever need any extra space there, even temporarily, the church, I'm going to a church meeting later, so could be helpful.
I hope we fill it up with congregants.
Yeah. Well, exactly, that's part, exactly, it's right. But then, it's just such a massive project, and it's so important for the city. So I applaud you, and so I'm on the school board, and I'm starting something outside of it called New Brunswick Reads. And so the whole idea is the Housing Authority and others to come together to say, hey, we have no blame, we have a literacy problem. So, hopefully the arts and other things to really try to get the whole community, adults and kids, reading, and learning is the foundation of learning. So, would love to be, have you guys as part of it. No money required or anything, but just kind of getting this common thing that we're one city, let's come together, let's try to work on this problem to make New Brunswick that much better.
Absolutely.
Is the Rutgers funding, is it a grant or a loan, or they're going to sell bonds?
So it's an investment.
Yes,
Oh, it's just.
Yes, there's an equity investment,
Oh,
so we're
okay.
putting $17 million in.
so they can use the theaters.
And they get to use the
Oh,
theater.
okay.
So basically what Rutgers is doing is it is expanding their opera program.
Okay.
It is introducing a musical theater program, which they have not had. And this is also, because that one theater we're building has a stage large enough for opera and ballet and dance. Rutgers will be able to use it for the dance program and bring those performances downtown.
Yeah, it's 450 seats, right?
It's 458 seats right now, yeah.
Any other question?
Thank you.
I can get dressed up. You want any comments?
Anything from the public? Just comments
No question.
related to the project. Just comments, no questions.
No questions?
Yeah, just related to the project.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay, well, I
we entertain comments, not questions.
okay,
Okay.
fine. Well, then I have some comments and some concerns to raise to the board. And I do
You have
want...
5 minutes, by the way.
Okay, sure. I just want to start by welcoming the new member and wish you luck. I know you have a very important responsibility, being the representative of the folks who
Yeah,
benefit
four
from these
minutes.
services. So, and I'm also glad to see a woman on the board. So,
Thank you.
welcome aboard. And I do want to, say what I heard about New Brunswick Read sounds like a great initiative, and love to work with you on that. If that's awesome.
Your 5 minutes are up.
Okay, so here's my concerns, because I know at a prior meeting, the executive director of the authority mentioned that he doesn't see himself as a political person. He said he's a soldier. And I'm just,
Is it related to the project?
it is, I'm getting
Okay,
somewhere.
yeah, I
So,
don't want into personalities. If it's related to the project, I just,
well,
Yeah.
I want to know who he is a soldier for.
no,
And
it's not related to the
Okay.
project. I just want
So-
comment related to the project, if you don't mind.
Okay, well,
Please.
I would like to hear some answers to Penrose's involvement and how much money they'll be contributing, but since I can't ask questions, it's kind of hard. But what I do have is a document that I want to share with all the board members. This is a financial disclosure form
For what?
for the executive director.
Yeah, this is unrelated.
That's not the project.
Okay, that's unrelated, sir.
We know about
Okay,
this.
well,
Okay.
I think it might
No,
actually
no,
be
no,
related.
Yeah, it's not the
I believe
project.
that there's a man named George Zolfinger, who
Okay.
is the chairman
Okay.
of the board of
Okay.
directors of DevCo.
Just
And it
cut
was
it,
said
cut
on
it.
the record that
Cut it.
DevCo is.
Please cut it, okay? It has nothing to do with the project. You have another comment to?
Yeah, I
related
do.
to the project?
So you'll see on this financial disclosure
Okay.
form that Mr. Clark lists income from a company called
Okay.
Trenton Liquors LLC.
Okay,
And I just paid the money to
Okay.
look up those records, and I saw that there's another
okay, it has
person
nothing
involved
to
in
do,
that
it
company
has
named
nothing to do
Brian
with the project. so
Zolfinger.
put it- Yeah, you cannot.
And I want to know if Brian Zolfinger is
Okay,
related to
let's go
George
to
Zolfinger, because if so, Mr. Clark has already mentioned that he's the only person on staff that has
Okay,
reviewed this
your time is
application.
up, your time is up. Okay, let's go to the.
This is really not how it's supposed to work, guys, I gotta be honest with you.
No, 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 I've given you a
Do
chance.
you care if
to
there's a
co- no,
conflict
no,
of
no,
interest
hold
with
on,
your
hold on,
executive
please.
director regarding
Please.
this project? This is a
Please.
DevCo project, no?
Please, I gave you a chance to comment about the project. You're going into personalities. Your time, 5 minutes is up. I'm going to vote.
Was that 5 minutes? Who was keeping track?
No.
How much
Because,
time is it?
no, even if it's 2 minutes, okay?
Even if it's 2 minutes, I
Yeah,
get cut
yeah,
off
yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm
Give it
just-
only to
this is just
personalities.
this is just out of,
Okay, all right.
not allowed. You're not allowed to talk about conflicts of interest involving the executive director.
I'm sorry, are we calling the roll?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Otero?
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell?
Yes.
Commissioner Ovando?
Yes.
Chair?
Yes.
And motion passes 5-0.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, let's go to the next one, please.
Resolution number,
Huh? Yeah, resolution.
resolution number 8 is a resolution ratifying, authorizing, and approving payment of bills for the month of February 2017.
So moved.
Second? Who's second?
Commissioner Jones seconded.
Okay. Just give us more explanation.
This was the payment of bills for the month of February.
Okay. All right,
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Otero? Commissioner Caldwell?
Yes.
Commissioner Ovando?
Yes.
Commissioner Walde?
yes,
Motion passes 5-0.
okay.
Resolution number 9 is resolution ratifying, approving, and adopting jumped ahead. Resolution number 8 is resolution ratifying and approving payment of bills for the month.
You just said-
I just did that. Resolution number 9 is resolution ratifying and approving, adopting a smoke-free policy for the New Brunswick Housing Authority. Resolution 9.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
Should I comment? So HUD has stipulated a smoke-free requirement now for all public housing properties and public housing. They have to be instituted within 18 months. In order to do that, we have to actually get it in the cycle for transitioning over. So as we're notifying and redoing leases and doing our annual re-exams, we need this policy in order to meet that HUD requirement. The policy was distributed to the board, as you know, under previous cover, and now we're asking that the board adopt it as a policy.
Any comments?
This does apply to residents and staff, by the way, I'm sorry. Any housing authority property. Good. Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Otero? Commissioner Caldwell?
Yes.
Commissioner Ovando?
Yes.
Commissioner Walde?
Yes,
Motion passed 5-0. Resolution number 10 is resolution ratifying, approving, and adopting an annual plan for the New Brunswick Housing Authority and CFP grant provision.
So moved.
Second.
can you go over here?
Sure, as you know, we typically do the annual, and you hear us talk about annual and 5-year plan. The 5-year plan will be discussed, obviously, when we do have our board retreat, but this is the annual plan required. It is the HUD standardized document that is required to be done annually. And in addition to that, we are making a revision to CFP 2016. That was to complete some of the projects we had previously discussed, including the railings as well as a couple of the other projects.
Can you explain the CF?
So those are capital fund projects that are done for improvements to the property. They're typically done on an annual basis. We usually get our funding for those components in March, but because of the government budget issue now, we have not received those, so we need to make this revision in order to make our transition over, which will hopefully have a budget at some point in the very near future, but that's really all we're asking to do.
Okay, that's next week, right? By next
The
week?
budget actually runs out Friday.
Friday, this Friday.
Correct.
Friday, well,
Friday night.
Any word from her on that? Just
Other
in
than,
general.
other than prepare for a potential shutdown, no. No. So that's what we've been notified. Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Otero?
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell?
Yes.
Commissioner Evando?
Yes.
Commissioner Walde?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. Resolution number 11 is a resolution authorizing and approving the payment of bills for the month of March 2017.
So moved.
second,
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Otero?
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell?
yes,
Commissioner Evando?
Yes.
Commissioner Walde?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. Resolution number 12 is a resolution authorizing and approving contract with Manfredi and Pilecchio to provide general legal services to the Housing Authority of the City of New Brunswick.
Second.
This is an annual contract
Yeah.
for general legal services, which was bid, and the successful and highest scored respondent was Manfredi and Pilecchio.
How many bids did we have?
We only received one response.
I think we've been getting only one for the last 2 years.
We
unfortunately.
advertise, we
Yeah, I
encourage.
know we do that.
We do bid both
Yeah.
general legal and redevelopment,
Yeah.
so we were able to get both out there at the same,
At the
at
same
similar
time,
times.
yeah.
And we don't see a high amount of respondents for those activities typically, but it's a public bid, so anyone's encouraged to respond to the public process.
Okay.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Otero?
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell?
yes,
Commissioner Evando?
Yes.
Commissioner Walde?
Yes.
Okay. Resolution number 13 is a resolution approving and adopting the New Brunswick Housing Authority maintenance policy.
so moved,
Second.
This is a policy that was also reviewed and discussed by the Operations Committee. We had various policies in place in the past that had multiple areas. Some were for preventative maintenance, some were for operations, some were other areas. This now consolidates it to one policy. We've been using the framework of this policy for some time, but now we've actually felt it would be good to memorialize it and get it into a standard policy. This will be a working document. I encourage the board, if they continue to see areas to make improvements, we'll be able to discuss this at our annual retreat and go over and improve the policy, but I think it's good to have everything, including the actual action items and the preventative maintenance in one policy.
We're still trying to get a schedule, right, for the annual meeting?
Yeah, we
No, not the annual.
we can
meeting.
talk about that in my report.
Okay, ready. Okay.
Ready? Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Otero?
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell?
yes,
Commissioner Evando?
Yes.
Chair?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. Resolution number 14 is a resolution approving and adopting the New Brunswick Housing Authority internal controls policy.
Move.
So moved.
Second.
So as you know, we have an internal controls policy that we've been utilizing. I'm sorry, you're going to second it?
Yeah.
This also is a policy that was reviewed by the Operations Committee. It is going to be a working document. We're looking for ways to continue to make those improvements. It has been some time since we've adopted an internal controls policy, so I appreciate the board working with us on this, and we want to improve it as much as we can as we go forward.
No question?
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Otero?
Yes.
Commissioner Caldwell?
yes,
Commissioner Evando?
Yes.
Chair.
Yes.
My report will stand, just a real brief update operations-wise. We are ending our heating season shortly. And once we do, we'll be shutting down our systems and going into what we hope will be the summer months. As you saw already, we started our grounds maintenance components. So we're now going out, getting all of our roofs and gutters and areas that were damaged during the winter or any of those times that we couldn't get up there when it was too cold. Our crews are getting out and about now and making those repairs. I don't have an update on the federal budget side. As you know, or may know, the federal budget does expire Friday evening. We don't have any information as to what will happen forward from there. We are prepared for a potential, what they call a shutdown, which would mean essential personnel only. Would be operating on a skeleton crew, doing, real basic actions until we're given otherwise instructions. Previously, it didn't have much of an effect because the last shutdown occurred in the middle of the month. We are funded typically at the beginning of the month. Without the funding for that month, it would be challenging to do what we need to do. So as soon as I hear anything, or you may see on TV about any activities with regard to that budget, we'll be moving forward. Now realize that this current discussion is only for the period from April 29th through September 30th. Either through a continuing resolution or an omnibus, but that's not the budget for the next year. This only really carries us through September 30th. Other than that, my report is there.
Okay. Public comment?
I just have a quick question, John. You
Sure.
mentioned that obviously we have to wait until the federal government decides what is it that they're going to do with the budget. So you did mention that you have a contingency plan just in case. What about the residents? Are they being notified, or what have been done? So just in case there's a skeleton crew, they know that it's not that you're not trying to answer their calls or the repairs that they need, but that it's just, it depends on the budget and they need to be aware of that.
So typically what, we wouldn't go out in front of that because we're not able to make that determination if there is or isn't. So if there were to be a shutdown, it would occur in this case over the weekend, which would mean we would change our voicemails to that statute. When I say a skeleton crew, we would still have people on site. We just would not have necessarily, which would mean maintenance would be here working, they just wouldn't be paid. Similarly to the executive staff and upper management. So we would still be, that's what essential personnel would be. So residents, if they call, they would still get the message that says we are currently in a government shutdown, and that if this is an emergency, we still would have our emergency line, which we have at night on weekends, and those areas would be answered accordingly. So we would still have to essentially answer those items of emergency basis. However, any of our long-term or other types of activities would not be addressed at that time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening once again, Charles Prattville, New Brunswick. I'm, of course, the editor of New Brunswick Today. I wanted to ask about the Operations Committee. Has that committee approved this long-awaited report about the improper parking fines?
No, we didn't discuss that.
Is there a timetable for when that report will be complete?
We'll get back to you. You can talk to the executive director.
Okay. You're aware I've been asking for almost a year.
I'm asking a lot of questions for over a year. Okay.
A lot of questions that need to be asked, and I hope that the new board member follows my lead and starts asking some of these questions.
No,
because
comments.
What happened today was totally not cool.
No. Let me answer
to-
this question.
To limit people to not be able to ask questions.
Let me ask you the question. Okay. I specifically said if you have comments related to the project, you brought in personalities. If there is any conflict of interest, okay, the state will get back to you. Okay.
I'm sorry,
He
what
has
happened?
provided the
Conflict of
information.
interest?
He has provided the information, okay, to the local government. If they have any issues, they will deal with it. So we're not here, to go over his report.
Okay, well, I'll just say, through the chair to the new member, the most important thing this board does is pick an executive director. And if the executive director has a conflict of interest with the biggest developer in the city, the one that gets all the projects, then you've got a serious problem and you need to do something about it.
If they have a
So that's-
serious
that's all I'll
problem, they
say.
will respond that, okay?
Okay.
But secondly, okay, if you have, if we give instructions that you have to concentrate on the project, issues on the project, you should not divert into personalities, okay?
I understand where you're coming from. I think it's not right for you to silence talk about potential corruption.
No, I
I
didn't
think
silence you, because That was, you know, it was, the comment was supposed to be in relation to the project, okay? So, anyway, okay.
Yeah, I'll just move on.
Let's go.
I'm not
Any
trying,
other
not
comments?
trying to fight. I
Okay.
just want to make my point and move on. And the next point I need to make is that the water that is coming out of the faucets in this community needs to be tested. There's more than 200 units here, lots of young people, lots of elderly, senior citizens. I believe the councilwoman can vouch for the fact that I brought this up at a recent council meeting and basically was told by the water utility that they do not do any lead or copper testing in this complex. And indeed, they said that they might even get in trouble if they tried. So it's squarely on the shoulders of this authority. And I understand that every dollar counts and you've got to do a lot with a little.
Yeah,
But
you're
one
not
thing
helping
you've got to do is make sure that the water doesn't have lead.
Unfortunately, you're not helping us too, you know, by asking us to copy thousands of documents, you know, you're wasting our, you know, the fund, you're wasting, you know, our resources, you're wasting staff time and all that, so you're not helping. Even though you're advocating for the clients, on the other hand, you're doing a lot of damage to them too. I just want to be frank with you. Yeah.
Email is free, and you should already have your documents digitized.
Okay.
It's 2017. It's not. It shouldn't be.
Okay.
It shouldn't take thousands of dollars to comply with requests.
Okay,
Not for
next
thousands of documents, maybe thousands of pages, but it's only a few dozen documents. And since you brought it up, that is a concern that the Housing Authority continues to be in violation of the state's Open Public Records Act.
No, our attorney is dealing with your attorney, so I don't need any additional comments. on
Okay, well, I just want, especially the new board member, to know that one of the documents I requested is an application for parking permit 0365. This is a parking permit that I've seen affixed to a vehicle that's driven by the son of the property manager here. And you might remember last year I brought up whether or not the son is living here off the books. Gosh, I don't know, why would he have a parking permit if he doesn't live here?
Okay. any
And
other
so I would
comments?
ask that the new board member should use your authority to get a look at that application, because I've been asking to see that application for 6 months, and the authority has stonewalled me, violated the law, and prevented me from seeing that application. So 0365 is the parking permit application that might shed some light on whether or not this person lives here and how he obtained a parking permit. Additionally, I'm still awaiting promised information about the property manager's trip, not this year, more than a year ago now, to Birmingham, Alabama. I was promised that I would get some type of proof that she attended a class or a seminar. Also, I pointed out she's the only person who took a trip at the taxpayer expense that did not provide any receipts for her for how she used her $100 a day. Like I said, if every dollar counts, you need to be looking into this stuff. And these travel expenses should be, everybody should play by the same rules. If you go on a trip, you got to get receipts. It's pretty simple. Why is it that only one person gets to break the rules and never gets held accountable for it, and also never comes to these meetings? I've never seen Zito White at a meeting here, and gosh, I don't get it. She's one of the top officials. She's highly paid, and she gets to travel around at the taxpayer expense. Her son might be parking here and living here. Why doesn't she come to these meetings?
Well,
Can you ask her to come to
I
the
work
next meeting?
I work for an agency which has a monthly board meeting. Every executive doesn't have to show up, and it's so.
Well, I think she owes it to the people in this community to start coming to
Okay.
these meetings and answering some of these questions. She goes to the Parking Authority board meetings where she is a board member and has currently under investigation for not properly disclosing
have 2
all of her
minutes?
sources of income. And I just will end by saying I really do wish you well. I hope that we can make this a better place. I'm sorry, sir.
Keep going.
No comment,
Okay.
please. Okay.
So I sincerely wish you well. I know it's a serious responsibility. I know you're not paid for this work. I do respect the work of volunteers. I just also have dealt with a lot of different government bodies, and I usually don't get this kind of pushback. I certainly have never had to wait more than 6 months to get a single document I asked for, and it's just not right what's going on. We need to improve the quality of this government, and I understand you're in tough times, but one of the things you got to do is hold your own people accountable.
Yeah.
So that includes your executive director, that includes your property manager, and I shouldn't be the only one asking these questions.
Yeah, but
The
about
board
the
should want to
documents.
know these answers.
No, the documents, okay, don't make it ridiculous. The lawyer, the attorneys are dealing among themselves, okay? So you're repeating the same question, and you have to talk to your attorney and find out what the status is.
Okay, regarding the Oprah, I will, just regarding the water, I noticed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bottles of water. You're not drinking the water out of the tap during the meeting. That doesn't inspire confidence. in the drinking water, will you please test the drinking water in Schwartz Roads? Will you promise to do that?
Motion to adjourn.
Wow.
Thanks
What a
for your
shame.
comments.
What a disgrace, please. Test the water here. God.
You don't do
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Somebody made a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Oh, well, somebody actually made a motion.
it. I made a
Kevin,
motion.
I'm sorry. Commissioner Vaughn, seconds? Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Otero? Commissioner Caldwell?
Yes.
Commissioner Ovando?
Yes.
Chair?
Yes.
Passes 5-0. Thank you. Chairman, I need you after the meeting.
That's it.